back, everyone, to the Cheltenham Countdown here on YouTube. And this, guys, is my first Ante-post tip for the 2026 Cheltenham Festival on this episode today. Yeah, it's a brand new season for Ante-post betting towards the festival, and you will find out my first selection right here on this episode. So, first things first, if you could give this video a like, that'd be great. Feel free to share as well in the meantime, and please don't forget to subscribe to my Cheltenham Countdown channel. Do comment below as well your Ante-post thoughts. Comment below if you've backed anybody, any horse Ante-post wise this season already, or if you have any ones you're lining up to back Ante-post during the coming weeks and months. And I'm doing things differently this season, guys, because there's not going to be a limit to how many Ante-post picks I choose this season. If I like a horse for a race and the price is right, and I feel the timing is just about perfect for the time of season I put it up, then I may put more selections up in the book. I'm taking this season very seriously Ante-post wise. Unlike last season, I did some on YouTube Shorts. I did post a few handicap ones towards the end of the season before the festival began. This time around, it's all happening very seriously. Before I give you my tip then, guys, I'm just going to give you all a guide to my own version and ways I go about choosing a horse as an Ante-post betting or choosing a horse this far out from a festival. So let me just guide you through what I think at the moment. Ante-post betting, in my opinion, first of all, is getting the better prices for a horse in a specific race that will run in that race on the day, with its price being significantly shorter. The aim is to get the value in the market with a selection that hopefully bookmakers have priced incorrectly at the time and more to our liking. Obviously, there are different stages betting Ante-post, especially in the jumps racing season as well, due to numerous times of the year where the markets do fluctuate and completely alter, as in the markets will go up and down. Prices for horses will completely and utterly change. For example, at the top of my mind, the Dublin Racing Festival in February, so a month before the festival, is a massive time to get most of your picks sorted and in the book, because of the fact that the high-profile runners that will run at the DRF, that you'll see in March as well, will either win at the Dublin Racing Festival, which will make their Ante-post price a lot shorter, or maybe lose, which will give them less of a chance potentially winning at Cheltenham. Christmas racing is another time of the year as well to have a good look at the Ante-post markets. With 3 months out, you could have a big change in some notable races at the festival. Everyone has a preference with Ante-post ways, where everybody has their own preference. My way is more dependent on the time of the season and the value price at present. So also just to note as well, it does massively depend on how much you stake and want to stake on a horse months out before the race, with the possibility as well that the horse might not even run in that race come March. You might unfortunately have incidents where horses might not even reach the race. Some people will spend a lot more than others, I should say, on their stake, and that's their choice. Some people would prefer to be safer with their choices as well and stakes. I'm myself more in the middle. With me, it all depends on the horse itself, the race you're looking at, and the vibe, I guess, you get from connections and the team in and around the individual. And clearly, the price and the value you're getting. I'd also confidently say, guys, it's been a challenging time betting Ante-post of late, I think. Value these days is tough to find, really hard. Bookmakers most of the time do not price up horses that fair, I reckon, and they don't give an inch or an edge to the punters, which is obviously the battle and the dilemma you have. But I reckon if you look closely this time of the year and you want to bet Ante-post and seek a little path that you can exploit, then you may get lucky. This time of the season, with the markets being out and the prices given, especially in the championship races at the festival, such as the Gold Cup, the Champion Hurdle and the Champion Chase, like I said, bookies won't give too much away. So I always tend to head towards slightly solid options in order to have a view on a rough idea where horses are likelier to be heading come March, and have a decent price as well on a horse right now. So I'm diving in with my first tip this season, and it's in a novice race with a market that looks pretty good with the price of certain horses. So, moving on to the first tip now, which is a tip in the Brown Advisory Novices Chase. And let me take you through the Brown Advisory market as it stands. So the market is as headed as follows, with Final Demand at 3-1, the Yellow Clay 8-1, a gap then to Derry Hassan Paddy 16-1, Jimmy DeSoy 20-1, Kawaboomga 20-1, Lovely Hurling 20-1, the Big Westerner 20-1, and the rest are 25-1 and bigger. So this is what I mean. Let me start with a favourite. Final Demand is not on a back-in price for me right now. He's far too short. Yes, he could be a beast and a superstar over fences, but I'm not willing to back at that price, especially Ante-post. The Yellow Clay, who's second favourite at the moment at 8-1, is said to be going hurdling, so I'm crossing him off from this race. The rest then are at double-figure prices, and that is good and what I want at this stage. I understand there could be some movement in this market later in the season and some other novices entering the fray, but I don't think my selection today will go much higher in price than what it is currently. So my tip will be the Big Westerner 20-1 for the Brown Advisory. Yes, that is my first tip for next year's Cheltenham Festival, delivered now in the Brown Advisory. It is the Big Westerner 20-1, like I said. I'm going to make the case for this horse, for this mare, and I think hopefully she's going to run well if she's to go to this race come March. So for me, there's more pros and positives to go with this selection and approach than any other potential candidate at double figure price in this market at the moment. With the Big Westerner, she's clearly a mare. We all know that she'd get the mare's allowance for weight from the geldings if she's to run in this race, which can only enhance her opportunities. Now, let me make the case for her as a rival to the rest of the runners in this race come March. Starting off with, she's been mixing her stuff with the geldings already last season. So last campaign, she ran against the boys, the men, she ran against them very well, notably with her brilliant second place finish in the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival. I definitely don't question her stamina for this contest. It's clearly a 3-mile novice chase around the old course of Cheltenham, and I kind of don't fear much in this race at this moment in time either. Like I said, obviously, Final Demand could be a superstar, but we are chancing it at the moment at 3-1 if you're backing him right now. It's a big risk backing him at such a short price at 3-1. The Brown Advisory race is probably likely going to be the same as the last few years in the race, meaning, whereby it could be a max 6, 7, even a 5-runner race potentially with the amount of horses in the field. Therefore, if you back her each way now, the Big Westerner, you're guaranteed getting the 3 places in the race that you're going to be having each way if you play the race each way. And that would mean if she's to finish top 3 in the race, you'd get profit from the bet. So if you back it out 20-1, you get profit from the bet if she's to finish in the first 3 places. Now I'm going to my next thing that I'm going to do is kind of envisage where I think she could run and a path and a plot of the campaign for the rest of the season. So where the trainers and connections might send this horse for the rest of the year. We start off with obviously her opening race of the season that I could envisage her running in. So that could be she could start in the Cork Mares Beginners Chase later this month, as has been mentioned by her trainer a few times, Henry de Bromhead, in some stable tours of late. If she's to win that, hopefully she could run well there. Then move on to the Fohee Novice Chase at Limerick over December, over Christmas time. She obviously won a Limerick Grade 2 over hurdles last season, so that's beneficial and would be an ideal stepping stone for her. I don't think, and I'm sceptical, she won't run a Leopardstown at the DRF, I'd imagine, which would mean then she'd avoid Final Demand until Cheltenham, because he's likely, I should say, to run at Leopardstown at the Dublin Racing Festival for Willie Mullins, rather than this mare for Henry de Bromhead. Therefore, if they want the 3rd run into the Big Westerner before the Browns, then she could attempt the Grade 2, potentially novice chase at Navan in February, which is over the 3-mile trip, or even, try a graded mares novice chase somewhere else, just to get a run into her before the festival. but that would mean she probably would have to carry a penalty if she'd won a Grade 1 prior. So that may not be on their radar or agenda before Cheltenham. So the path and the campaign for this season could be like, I'll just briefly summarise it. The Mares Beginners Chase later this month in November. If she'd win that, she'd run well there. Moving on to the Foheen Novice Chase at Limerick in December over Christmas. Like I said, don't run at Leopardstown, don't run at Christmas or the DRF at Leopardstown. There's no need to run her there unless you really want to get stuck into the Willie Mullins top novices. So if you want to, like I said, if you want a third run, if you want the last run before the festival, before the Browns, there's a novice chase. There's a novice chase at Navan in February over 3 miles. That could be a nice stepping stone for her before March. As well to her season that she could be plotted with, her path during the season. She did run a Limerick last season, like I said, in the Grade 2 there, and then she was left to run fresh until Cheltenham in March. So that could be the same scenario this season. She may run in the Foheen Novice Chase in December and be kept fresh until the festival. That could be a nice similar path and a similar way to run her well at the festival next year. Now, I did mention earlier in terms of the fact that Ante-post betting does come with a lot of risk. And my only concern with this selection, with the Big Western in the Brown Advisory, my only issue is that she could run in the Mares Chase instead of the Brown Advisory at the Cheltenham Festival. As in, connections may want to send her against her own sex to the Mares Chase on the Friday, and which will be run on the new course at Cheltenham rather than a Brown Advisory over 3 miles on the old course against the boys. That's my only concern. She's good enough to run in the Brown Advisory and obviously Chase in a Grade 1. She's good enough to run against the boys. She's beaten some of the geldings before, and Henry de Bromhead does not fear sending his top mares against the geldings. Let me just briefly touch on the Mares Chase scenario. In my opinion, she won't run in the Mares Chase. She is more of a stayer, and I'm in the camp that she's a 3 miler all day long, as we saw in the Barclay last season. She's also a sister to Stay Away Faye. He ran in the Brown Advisory and obviously Chase a few seasons ago, so the connection could be there as well in terms of that line as well, if you might think, guys. Now moving on to Henry de Bromhead, and in terms of himself pitching his horses against the boys, I'm in the mindset that he does it without fear. He's done it before. He's done this so many times before with some very good mares he's had, and has been successful with them as well. The likes of Put the Kettle On. He ran her in an Arkle, following up then running her in a Champion Chase, won them both. Honeysuckle, we know what she's done before. The legendary mare, Queen of the Jump Racing, Honeysuckle. And even to an extent, Muscada, his own handicapping mare, Muscada. I think he won a Grand Annual with her as well before, a handicap at the festival, running against the boys, running against the geldings. He's not afraid to run his top mare, and I think the Big Westerner is one of his top mares this season in his stable, in his yard. He's not afraid to do it, guys. So if you are questioning the fact that he may run this mare in the other race, in the Mares Chase, which is my only concern, it's a fair, valid point, but just consider Henry de Bromhead and the connections where they're not afraid, guys. They're not afraid to run their horses in top Grade 1s against the boys. That is my only concern with this selection. I've just had a look back at the market again one more time for the Brown Advisory. Like I said, final demand at 3-1 Ante-post is not a good price in my opinion. The Yellow Clay, who's second favourite with some firms, is 8-1. He said, like I said, going to be target for the Stayers Hurdle potentially for Gordon. He has outlined that in some interviews and stable tours recently. Then you got Derry Hassan Paddy for Lucinda Russell. Could be a good sort over fences, but the Big Western did beat him in the Alba Bartley last season. Then you have Jimmy the Soy, 20-1, novice chaser potentially for Willie Mullins. He could be a nice little sort. I'd fear him a bit at that price, especially with the fact that he won the Coral Cup at the festival last season. Then you have Cowabunga for Willie Mullins again and JP McManus this time. Now, I just had a quick look. He's said to be potentially returning at the second half of the season. So will he even make the Brown Advisory? I'm sceptical and not sure with regards to his plans. He may not even reach the race. Then you have Lovely Hurling, another horse that's quite nice, but he could be staying over hurdles as well. I think the Big Western is solid, guys. If at this moment in time you'd have out of those 7 I just mentioned with regards to the top of the market down, Final Demand probably going to head to this race, you'd imagine so, but like I said, its price is putting me right off. You'd have Derry Hassan-Paddy and Jimmy the Soy. They're the other two that are intriguing types, I feel, because of you have a feeling and a more of a side in terms of they're going to be siding towards this race rather than any other at the festival. So with regards to the four in this race, the Final Demand, Derry Hassan-Paddy, Jimmy the Soy, and my selection, the Big Westerner, I'm very much happy with the pick. I'm very much delighted with my first selection and in the book. I just hope things go to plan with this horse for the rest of the season. Now, that's probably it now for the case to be made for this horse. I am sure I've kept you long enough with my video today, guys, but if you did like it, please hit that like button. Do comment. I want to hear your thoughts. If the selection isn't good, put a negative comment down below. I'd love to read your views. Again, keep them clean, obviously. Keep them all clean. But yeah, tell me what you think about my selection. If any of you have any views on the Brown Advisory, I'm obviously chasing at this moment in time, put it in the comments down below. And if any of you have a pick as well in any other race for the festival, put them in the comments and I will give you a shout out very, very soon. In terms of my next video, it'll be out again during this week for the Cheltenham November meeting preview. It may be out tomorrow as well, in terms of being released by then. But with regards to the first Ante-post tip, you're going to get them in separate videos rather than putting them on a preview episode or any other sort of platform for the rest of the season. You're going to get a separate video for each Ante-post selection tip on the Cheltenham Countdown this season. So they won't be connected to any other episodes. You'll get them all within my series on a separate Ante-post episode video. So that's my first tip, guys. That's my first selection in the book for this season, for this season's Cheltenham Festival. I don't know how many I'm going to be putting up. It won't be an extravagant amount of numbers. It won't be too little. It'll be a good amount. It'll be a good size amount of picks just to get some in the book for the festival in March. And like I said, no limits. So that there will be as many as I can putting up at the right time, I hope. Like I said at the start of the video, it's all down to the timing, the price, and the race itself. If I'm happy enough with the price of the horse that I like in an Ante-post market race for the festival, it may go up in a video. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it's been a long enough video for the first Ante-post tip, but I hope I've made a good case enough for the Big Westerner. If you do like it, give it a like, and I will see you very soon for the Cheltenham November meeting preview, which does happen this weekend. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you.